6 p.m., Thursday, July the 16th, 2026. Our board secretary, Ms. Nancy Miller, she will do our roll call for the record.
Mr. Aiken.
Turn your microphone on.
Mr. Aiken is clearly not here. Mr. Kilburn,
Yes.
Mr. Parton,
Here?
Ms. Pinkerton,
Here.
Mr. Sams,
Here.
Dr. Wheeler.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum, so we'll move on. Next is to accept the agenda. And so I move to amend the agenda, and that amendment is to switch discussion topics. If you look down old business, new business on 6A and 7A, we just want to switch the topic of each one. Bring up the report of the Library Director Search Committee to old business and drop discuss down to the new business. So do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion? Okay. Hear none, all in favor, just raise your hand. Any opposed, like sign, seeing none. Motion approved. This time, Ms. Nancy Miller will have our invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag.
So this evening, I would like to begin this meeting in the words that Jesus himself gave us. Let us pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Maybe it's Now it's time for our public comments, and before that, I want to say I appreciate each and every one taking your time to come and attend this meeting tonight. And so before we open the floor for public comments, I want to review a few guidelines to ensure the meeting is respectful, orderly, and efficient. Our time limit for each speaker will be allowed up to 3 minutes. So we see sign up. All speakers must be registered on the sign up sheet prior to the start of the meeting. Third, courteous and kind. We ask that everyone treat each other with respect. Please refrain from using profane and threatening language and avoid personal attacks on board members or staff. So in order to maintain a neutral forum that allows all viewpoints to be heard without intimidation or disruption, we ask the audience to remain quiet and refrain from all outbursts, including applause, jeering, and booing. And then last, one-way communication. This is a designated time for the board to listen to you. And so please understand that we will not engage back and forth dialogue or answer questions during this period. The board will consider your comments and may refer the matter to the library director to review if further action is needed. So when I call your name, please step up to the microphone, state your name, city or town, and where you reside, and in your for the record, and begin. And so we do have 11 tonight. So if it's all right with the board, we'll just take all 11. And so we'll begin now. So we're ready for our first speaker. Our first speaker is Hannah Whitehead. If you'll step up, please.
My name is Hannah Whitehead. I'm a resident of Pickens County in Liberty. So first I want to start with appreciation for the board members who are committed to keeping obscene and profane materials out of the children's section despite pushback. I know that it's often a thankless and tough job, so we appreciate all that you're doing. I want to bring reference to the book that I challenged last month. It's called It's Perfectly Normal by Robbie Harris. Book experts recommend it for ages 10 and up, which is for 4th and 5th graders. However, it was in our juvenile nonfiction section, which is for ages 7 to 12 according to the website, which would start in 2nd grade. The book has graphic photo depictions of sex acts, adults having sex in various positions, both hetero and homosexual acts with nudity included multiple times throughout the book. Instructions for children on how to masturbate, including photos of a girl with a hand between her legs and a boy stroking his genitals. I've debated many times with the Free to Read group online, and they claim that the book is educational and kids have to learn about sex somewhere. So I would like to read a short excerpt from this book on page 51 and 52. Kids, teenagers, and grown-ups experience sexy feelings when they masturbate. Masturbation is touching or rubbing any of your body's sex organs for pleasure because it feels good. One everyday term people use for masturbating is playing with yourself. Often when people masturbate, they daydream about someone or something happy or pleasurable or sexy. When people become sexually excited by looking at some people become sexually excited by looking at sexy pictures or by dreaming about or having fantasies about something pleasurable. When people masturbate, they usually rub their sex organs with their hands or something soft like a pillow. Girls often rub their clitoris, boys often rub their penis. Both the clitoris and penis are sensitive to touch. So what I believe is that no reasonable adult believes that this is appropriate for 7-year-olds, let alone most age children. So the Pickens County website states the following content will not be included for the children and juvenile collection areas: adult nudity, sexual descriptions, and vulgar language, which this book is littered with it throughout. Thankfully, as of 3 weeks ago, the book has been moved to the adult parenting section where adults can still check out this book for their kids if they desire. I'm grateful it's not in the children's section where kids of any age can get their hands on a book, pick up, and see photos of adults having hetero and homosexual sex. I encourage the board to keep fighting for what is good, true, and beautiful. These books are there, so it's imperative that you guys continue to fight for what is right, because this book was only moved 3 weeks ago. Above all, we thank our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for his providence and pray for wisdom and understanding. Thank you.
Next, Denise Davison.
Good evening. My name is Denise Davidson. I'm a resident of Easley. Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Heimberger, for updates regarding book reconsiderations. To the board, as public servants responsible for library content and programs provided to young, impressionable minds, please accept my sincere gratitude for your service and dedication. Members of this community truly appreciate your work and the progress made. Before the nation's 250th celebration, I visited the library several times and did not see prominent displays recognizing our country's founding. I was deeply disappointed. Missing such a milestone denotes a meaningful gap in library programming that should not have been overlooked. Truly an embarrassment when you consider what is and has been on display in the library. Understanding the board does not manage day-to-day operations, this shortfall should be considered in the interviewing process. Students and taxpayers deserve a positive, wholesome, uplifting, and educational environment. Before selecting a new director, please consider requiring a quarterly calendar of planned programs and events to review in advance to avoid future omissions or other questionable events. Probationary periods are vital. Our county, state, and nation are enriched by people, achievements, and historical events that can educate, inspire children and families. Highlighting the accomplishments of everyday contributors can also encourage innovation and civic engagement among patrons. With the right leadership, the library can become a stronger center for education, civic knowledge, and community pride. Thank you for your willingness to serve.
Thank you. Lou Kay.
Lou Kay, I live in Clemson. After England got knocked out of the World Cup semifinal yesterday, I really wanted to skip this meeting and grieve, but evidently I pulled myself off the couch and drove here anyway because I didn't found Students Against Book Banning based at D.W. Daniel High School just to abandon it whenever my favorite team loses. I'm snipping the plug into regular conversation now. That's how advanced I am at this. The argument in favor of the materials and collection policy that has now been put in place by this board was based on Proviso 27.1, or that was the story. Members of this board claimed that they could not in good conscience sign the state aid certification form while there were prurient materials in the YA section. That was the basis of your argument, that the materials and collection policy was about removing these prurient materials and coming in compliance with the proviso, which regards prurience. Don't mistake my reference to this for agreement. We were already in compliance with the proviso, and the signing of the state aid certification form could have been done under the old policy with no issue, yada, yada, yada. The policy you have put in place is actively harmful to the library system. I've said this all before. But what I want to focus on is what you argued. Through this argument, you falsely aligned yourself with the best interests of the library system. You held state aid hostage so that you could pretend to rescue it, and 3 of you tried to hold it even after your policy was passed and put into place. I recount all of this because comments made at the May meeting by board member Mark Kilburn actively contradict this argument. Mr. Kilburn said, quote, "The collection policy isn't trying to address whether or not it's pornographic or has prurient interest. It's is it age appropriate for minors," end quote. I was, as I'm sure many others were, entirely troubled by this. If it is not about prurience, then what are you looking for and what is the rubric? If it is not about prurience, then it is therefore not because of the proviso, which strictly refers to prurience. So why did you change the policy, and how on earth did Drama by Raina Telgemir get moved from the juvenile section when a professional placed it there and the board affirmed that it belonged there? Why was it moved without notice to the public? And why did it take the public sounding an alarm to get it moved back? And how are we meant to trust that this won't happen again if you do not publicize what books you are moving and why? The idea that there was pornography in the library never occurred to me in an entire childhood of reading books here, including Drama, until I started coming to these meetings and hearing it said over and over again. Don't complain when people counter the false narrative that your supporters spread, and never forget that it is your job to represent all of our community, not just the Christian nationalists. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Jesse Henley.
Thank you. My name is Jesse, Pickens County. I want to say first of all, thank you. Thank you for your willingness to serve our county during a time when doing what is right often comes at a personal cost. Leadership is easy when everyone agrees. True leadership is revealed when convictions are tested, criticism is loud, and the right path is not always the popular one. As a Christian, I believe God calls men and women to stand faithfully wherever He has placed them. Tonight, I simply want to encourage you to continue standing. I also want to thank you for what you have already accomplished. Your efforts to strengthen collection policies, exercise sound judgment, and place the well-being of children at the forefront have demonstrated courage. Whether everyone agrees with your decisions or not, many families in Pickens County recognize that you have accepted your responsibility with seriousness and integrity. Children are a gift from God. They are not simply members of our community. They're our future. The Lord entrusted them to parents, families, churches, and communities to be protected, nurtured, and taught what is true. That's a responsibility none of us should ever take lightly. This conversation has often been framed as one of quote-unquote intellectual freedom. But freedom without wisdom is not freedom at all. Every institution exercises discernment. Every library chooses what belongs in its collection. The question has never been whether standards should exist or not. The question is whether those standards reflect what is genuinely beneficial for our children. Not everything that is published is educational. Not everything that is legal is appropriate for young minds. And not everything that is called good by our culture is good in the eyes of God. As Christians, we are called to speak the truth in love. We are called to love every person because every person bears the image of Almighty God. But love also protects. Love guards innocence. Love has the courage to say that children deserve better than sexually explicit material or ideological messaging that are beyond their developmental maturity. The Apostle Paul wrote in Philippians chapter 4 to dwell on whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable. If there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think on these things. Shouldn't those same qualities characterize what we intentionally place before the eyes and minds of our children? I know these decisions are not easy. I know the criticism can be relentless. Scripture does remind us in Galatians 6:9, let us not grow weary in doing good. For the proper time, we will reap a harvest.
Thank you. John L. Raines.
Pickens, South Carolina. Thank you, board members and Mr. Heimberger, for understanding that curation is not censorship. Free-to-read activists frequently describe book challenges as well as access restrictions, removals, relocations, age level changes, and parental permission requirements as censorship. We are not trying to suppress ideas from society. We are insisting our publicly funded library should give only age-appropriate ideas to minors. A public library is not Barnes & Noble, Amazon, or Netflix. It is a public-funded institution created for the education of the community and is charged with serving the public good. It should be trusted by parents. Every library curates. Every purchase, display, program, digital subscription, shelf placement, and catalog decision is a choice. The question is not whether libraries will curate, they must. Who sets the standards for curation? Is it the American Library Association, the South Carolina State Head Librarian, the hired director, publishers, vendors, courts, liberal activists? According to South Carolina state law, the appointed local library board of directors establishes the collection policy, and it is the director and their staff's job to follow it. The first public library was born from community needs, and Benjamin Franklin took action. It was directly accountable to the community. Its mission was to improve community education. Community objections to certain material should not be dismissed and labeled censorship merely because those objecting come from parents and not so-called professionals. My concern tonight is the e-book checkouts, which have no safety mechanism in place to restrict minors from accessing age-inappropriate material. This needs to be fixed. Benjamin Franklin's library collection was tangible, limited, and intentional. If a book entered the library, the public knew why it had been chosen and who chose it. When a physical book sits on a local shelf, the community can see it, ask about it, challenge it, defend it, move it, or remove it. When a digital platform contains millions of items, the path from child access becomes less accountable to our local community standards and less safe for our minors. Your mission statement uses the word appropriate. Our next library director needs to know clearly what appropriate material means. Libraries should not be an access to anything system. Please keep curating wisely.
Thank you. May Anderson.
Hello, good evening. My name is May Anderson. I'm from Clemson. I'm here with the organization Students Against Book Banning. This past May didn't just mark my 16th birthday, but it marked the beginning of my 3rd year coming to these meetings. Everyone knows that the time between ages 13 and 16 come with a lot of good firsts, like your first time driving. Some firsts are less pleasant and less talked about, but equally important, like the first time you witness an arrest. The first time you watch a man try to verbally and physically intimidate your mother. The first time you feel genuine hate directed towards yourself. The first time you stand by as grown adults scream at each other. First like these stick with you. They've stuck with me. And they all took place in Pickens County Library Board meetings. Not only have these first stuck with me, they've aged me. As I've become more aware of the ignorance poisoning our community, I've been stripped of my innocence. That is something a book could never do. When I first started speaking at these meetings, I was blown away by the total lack of understanding of teenagers and their values. I still don't understand why some choose to believe that one book can uproot a teen's moral compass. As I've considered this belief, one thing has become incredibly clear. The book banning debate is not an issue in itself. It's a symptom of insecure parenting. When children are raised, it's their parents' job to provide them with values. It's also their job to teach them about sensitive issues like politics, religion, racism, drugs, and sex. When adults limit teens' access to books containing sensitive subjects like these, they're not protecting their children. They're teaching them that their morals are fragile. So fragile that years of parenting can go right out the window when a book enters the picture. For example, my parents taught me that smoking is bad. Sometimes, when I read books, characters in them will smoke. Most of the time, authors frame it as unhealthy. Timothy's house smelled like cigarettes. He wished his father would quit. Sometimes, and usually in older books, it's viewed neutrally, even positively. Will looks so cool, leaning against a wall and smoking a cigarette. In this case, the author is likely under the impression that smoking makes someone cool. Luckily for me, and every other teenager in America, I'm allowed to say that the author is wrong. If I read that and decided to go smoke a cigarette, my parents failed their job. This logic applies to every single other issue that is portrayed in literature. I urge everyone in this room to look inwards. Do you genuinely think that a few hours of reading can override years of parenting? If you said yes, what does that say about not just your parenting, but you? Is your system of beliefs logical, strong, and understanding of others? Moral upheaval in the face of opposing views is not a symptom of strong values or strong parenting. Thank you.
Thank you. Virginia King.
Virginia King, I live in Easley, and I want to thank you for your cooperation in moving our age-inappropriate books in our library from the young students. Many of us appreciate all you are doing to protect our children from the forces of evil who want to corrupt young minds. We don't serve alcohol or give cigarettes to young students because it isn't age appropriate. They don't need to read books that will entice them to live immoral lives either. Thank you for your due diligence.
Thank you. Meredith Burr.
Hi, my name is Meredith Burr. I'm a resident of Clemson, a parent, regular patron of the library. I'm submitting these comments for the public record. I want to first respond to Mark Kilburn's comments at the May board meeting. Mark stated that the collection policy is not trying to address whether or not a work has prurient interest and expressed frustration at prurient interest continuing to be brought up. Yet this board insisted that the recent changes to the collection policy were necessary specifically because of Proviso 27.1, which required libraries to certify they did not offer any materials that were prurient to children. This board also specifically included in the updated collection policies that prurient interest material be moved from teen to adult. So the collection policies are in fact trying to address whether or not a work has prurient interest. Mark also expressed frustration at those insisting that we need to consider the work as a whole in making collection decisions, but this comes from South Carolina law. State Library website says that for materials to be considered prurient, the dominant theme of the material must be taken as a whole and cannot be parsed out in sections. Collection policies regarding the teen collection state that they are going to use the state obscenity law for guidance. This law also emphasizes that the work needs to, as a whole, appeal to the prurient interest and lack any serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value to be considered obscene. So it's clear that the terms prurient interest, obscenity, and work as a whole keep coming up because they are part of the law and integral to the recent discussions on collection policies. The problematic new collection policies now allow any book to be removed from the teen section based not on the work as a whole, but on objectionable excerpts. This is an unreasonable standard and restricts books that are relevant and valuable to teens. Mark stated that the new collection policy is only trying to ensure collections are age appropriate, but age appropriateness is subjective and can depend on personal values. This is why the previous collection policy referred to age relevant materials. The library placed materials in categories relevant to different age groups and allowed parents and individuals to determine what was appropriate for them. When we compare Pickens to other South Carolina libraries, we see Pickens is now an outlier because of its extreme policies. I checked SC Lens, a consortium of 22 South Carolina county libraries, including Anderson County, for the locations of a group of 85 titles that our system recently moved from teen to adult. 90% of these titles had 60% or more of the SC Lens copies in YA or teen. Over 30 titles had copies only in YA or teen. Only one title was only available in adult. We have 84 only available in adult. Lastly, I strongly disagree with the current collection policy, but since it is currently in place, I ask that the board encourage slow, careful review and not push for books to be moved as quickly as possible. In a recent review, 14 books, including drama, were determined to have been moved to adult incorrectly or to need further review because it was not clear why they were moved. While drama has been returned to juvenile, other books are stuck in adult while further review occurs. P.S. I Still Love You, for example, is still classified in adult, despite a second review finding it complied with teen policy. These errors demonstrate that the reclassification process is being rushed. It's not right that books likely in compliance with the board policy have been quickly moved to adult and are stuck there while more careful review occurs. The slow, careful review must always come first. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Andy Hendricks.
Good evening. I'm Andy Hendricks. I live in Easley, in Pickens County. From the moment you were placed on the board, you have been on a mission to force your views and beliefs on everyone and continue to expect the public library to act as the parent to a child. As I said I would do, I have reached out to County Council about the actions of some. I am providing that statement and this statement tonight for the public record. I don't believe for 1 second that 3 of you should have the honor and privilege of serving on this board for another minute. I will continue to report my concerns over the egregious lies and actions taken. Pickens County Council seems to be okay with turning a blind eye. I am not. This is an unpaid volunteer position that will not impact any of your lives or families, whether you serve on this board or not. I do imagine that the lies told that will be made part of a public record will be difficult to face. I have no issue at all with the very different viewpoints that all of you bring. I think if everyone is speaking truthfully, it allows for far better decisions to be made if you are hearing from as many sides, views as possible. The problem is that some have been very untruthful and are now boldly lying about others saying things that they did not. When it was stated that the state director has said she had a paralegal review what was sent and the paralegal said that it was legal, I knew that there was no chance of this board being able to act in the library's best interest or in the county's. Who I am and what I stand for matters. I do not and will not ever stand for or tolerate anyone that lies. Lies were stated on the record and in complete disregard for the impact those words have on anyone. Lies that in the above instance could have had real-world impacts with a referral to the Office of Disciplinary Counsel for an attorney when it was stated that a paralegal said your policy was legal. That did not happen, and I know it didn't happen before the FOIA I have submitted is even returned. I am a paralegal for the past 26 years. I take my job seriously. I know the seriousness of everything that I say and do. I will not let that lie go unchecked, and it is now part of the public record for all to know. I have more to share with council. While it seems they are not going to take any action, the public record and county records will be clear as to what was said and done until you are either removed or your term has expired. We all know that you have not and will not do the right thing. At the last meeting, it was stated that the interim director may have moved books against board policy. If that is true, I anticipate his firing by the end of the week, since you already fired an award-winning director that was taking the necessary steps to implement your policy.
There you go. Renee Gahan.
Hello. My name is Renee Gahan, and I have lived in Clemson Central area for almost 30 years. As a library member, a frequent user, I've been thinking about what qualities our next director must have. Libraries provide free access to information and ideas. They are also among the few remaining truly public institutions in our country where people can gather, learn, and belong without the expectation of spending money, sharing the same beliefs, or the same way of life. And libraries are under attack. Acts of censorship have always been rooted in struggle for power and social dominance. The challenges we face today are not new or unique. There is a nationwide organized effort to remove books from libraries that relies on fear, shame, and outrage. Their aim is to control what people can read, learn, and imagine. In response to these pressures, let's ask this: who benefits? The community? Or is it political, religious, corporate, or partisan interests seeking to manipulate and control the narrative and determine which ideas are available to others? Every hour spent fighting manufactured controversies is an hour not spent expanding literacy programs, gardening workshops, home skills classes, community repair events, children's services, or the many other programs and potential programs that make libraries and their communities thrive. A library director is here to serve the entire community and make decisions based on the library's mission here in Pickens County, not the demands of small but organized national groups seeking to limit access to information, ideas, and alternate ways of living. In hiring a director, my first choice would be to rehire Stephanie Howard, our former library director and recognized leader in intellectual freedom. But at the moment, this is not so. I urge you to evaluate candidates on their professional qualifications, commitment to intellectual freedom, and dedication to serving the entire community. Choose someone who has sound and fair judgment and give them the autonomy to make decisions based on the library's missions, establish professional standards, and needs of the entire community, not on pressure from righteous groups seeking to determine what belongs on library shelves. Please choose a director who will be a guardian of the library and who ensures that our community has the freedom to read, to learn, and to explore ideas without fear or censorship. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Rudolph Bell.
Good evening. I'm Rudolph Bell. I live in Liberty. This is my first library board meeting, and I wasn't prepared to speak, so you'll give me a little grace, I hope, in what's going to be a disjointed presentation. I just want to thank you, first of all, for what you do in bringing this library. It's a wonderful library. I use it all the time, and you're doing many good things for our community, and I want to express my gratitude for that. I want to support the direction that you've been going, and I'm going to do it with this argument. We are a divided nation. We are a polarized nation. With a little research, I could bring you some charts prepared by political scientists that show the electorate moving in opposite directions, the left moving more to the left and the right moving more to the right. At this moment in time especially, it behooves the library and private businesses and other public bodies not to get involved in what the media has labeled the culture wars. And unfortunately, I think you've been dragged into it. You've been dragged into it by activists on one side of the culture wars that have commandeered the public library to advance their agenda. What you need to do is steer clear of either side and try to shoot right down the middle. This is a public institution. There are people with all kinds of views who are, as it were, stockholders in this institution, and you need to respect everybody. The only way you can do that is to go right down the middle. I think you're doing that. I think you need, if there's an activist who insists that you take one side or the other in the culture wars, then you need to fire that activist. And I thank you for allowing community input into the decision-making for curating the library. And that's all.
Thank you. Okay, our public comment time is over. We'll continue with our meeting. Item number 4, approval of minutes. Under 4A, we have special call meeting, February the 12th, 2026. So you have had time to look over those minutes. So there's a motion. Is there a motion to approve February the 12th, 2026 minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes from February 12th.
Yeah. Yes, okay, a motion. I have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion. Any? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed, like sign. Seeing none, so the motion's approved. Let's go to B, Library Board meeting, May 21, 2026. So do I hear a motion to approve May 21, 2026 minutes? Motion? Anybody?
A motion to approve the minutes from
Okay.
May 21.
Second? Second? Okay. Discussion?
With all due respect, I think, Danny, you weren't presiding at that meeting? Is that correct? You were presiding? Yeah. My copy has presiding Danny Parton. We probably should correct that.
Okay, okay. So,
Oh, at the top, yes, sorry, yeah, I see it now.
okay. Is that noted for the record? To be changed? Okay. Anything else? Any corrections, additions? If not, will they stand approved? We've got a motion on the floor. We're in discussion. Any more discussion?
Just, let me just comment that there are typos in both of these. They're not significant. They don't change the content, but they can be easily amended by simply running the Microsoft program. So
Okay.
I recommend that be done.
Okay.
Just to, because they represent the board and they should be as clean as possible, that's all.
So is that noted for the record? Okay, well then, all in favor of approving the minutes for May 21, raise your hand. Any opposed, like sign, seeing none. So that motion, okay, it's approved. Item 5, Library Director's Report. Mr. Heimberg.
All right. Financial report first. You have in your packet the 2026 fiscal year final report. There is really nothing remarkable to point out. June 30th found us in the black, and all the lights came on the next day. So I think we were in good shape. Okay. Do you have any questions about it? I believe you got this. You may not have gotten this one ahead of time, and I apologize for that. But really, I mean, it was a good year last year financially.
Mr. Chairman, is this a time to say something about the budget, or do you want to put that?
No, that's fine. If you're addressing Bruce with questions, you're more than welcome to do that. Yes.
Budget itself.
Yes, budget, yeah, just budget.
Yeah, I just, once again, I'm always appalled by the fact that the budget gets handed down with no explanations as to why, and this is not in your purview, this is what the county does to us. And
Are you referring to the FY27 budget right now?
Yes,
Okay.
not our financial report, but the budget for
Yeah.
27, right. It's not on the agenda, so that's why I'm inserting it, and
just as a point of information, I had maybe 30 seconds worth of comments to make about the FY27 budget. Probably none of those comments that I was or will make would be in reference to what you're about to say, but I was going to introduce the budget, so.
Would you like me to defer until you've made your comments?
Yeah, like I say, 30 seconds
Yeah. Okay.
at most. So what you did receive in your email packets is the fiscal year 2027 budget that County Council approved. From a dollar standpoint, there's a roughly 2% increase for the library. Most of that, the majority of that new money went toward personnel-related expenses. Our operating expense budget compared to last year is reduced somewhat.
Yeah.
There's a handful of areas where the 2027 budget probably will not meet our expenses over the year, but we'll be able to deal with that as we've done in past years. But we just have to see where we actually get. But so yes, overall there was an increase, and we appreciate that from the county. On the expense side, we're just going to have to be diligent in how we spend the money, and if we need to bring an adjustment or two to the board, then we'll do that.
Yep. Well, I agree with you that the increase in the budget is probably, I didn't do the calculation, but is absorbed into mostly the raises that are required.
Yeah.
So it's not really an increase. It's obviously a cut in operating, and
Yeah.
that's disturbing, to say the least. I noticed that some of the categories that were in the budget were zeroed out by the county, and I don't know if that means that if in the past, we've been able to move items from one budget to, or dollar amounts from one budget category to another as need arise. But it's a little disturbing that when you zero a budget item out, it implies that the county may not approve movement of funds there. It's just something to be aware of. In particular, the legal fees were zeroed out, and I think the board is still in precarious position with respect to some of its policies. So, without any funds at all to hire an attorney, the county attorney has demurred because she's not a First Amendment expert, and so she is not going to be of any use to us in terms of if we have to defend ourselves. So that's just a concern, that when you zero out a budget item, that it wouldn't be replaced. There's a drastic cut to repairs from $75,000 to $5,000. I'm wondering, I assume the county is going to provide these services that they've cut from our budget. I don't know. I mean, is that your understanding?
That is what they told me, yes,
Okay.
that
All right.
since we're now a department of county government, they felt that the best way to handle repairs was for us to report and them to come and evaluate and respond as they felt appropriate.
Okay, well, let's hope they stick to it. And it's always a battle with these guys. The other one, we're going to talk about the bidding, but it just comes to my attention that, do you have any idea what the renovation budget looks like? Does it square with our expectations and expenses to date? It's been all over the place over the years, and I know that the county has absorbed that back into their reserve fund, so to speak, and then they're operating out of that. But that makes it more difficult for us to understand where the money the library has saved over the years has gone. And it's gotten to the point where you can't track it at all, at least I can't. I mean, at one point, we had saved $3.4 million. Then a budget of $2.2 million appears, and then it goes and disappears and comes back. I just want to know, are we going to be able to do the renovations we want to do?
With that said, he will be speaking on that on item D.
Yeah,
and
okay.
so maybe you can address that then, or
I can do it now, or I can do it then.
well, since it's been brought up, go ahead.
Um,
Fresh.
We do have some level of concern about the money that is left from when the library was on millage, whether that will cover the construction remodeling cost. But we're really not going to know for sure until the bids go out and then we see what the bids actually come in at. So we just don't know right now. And so it's
Yeah.
going to continue to be a waiting game for another, well, maybe I should just go into that too, right, at this point.
Let's just talk about it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to upend.
No, that's all right. So you do have a sheet that shows the timetable for bid announcement and bid opening and what they call a dispute period, all of which will be coming to an end before the end of August. So by the end of August, I think we'll have a better idea of, we'll know what it's going to cost us, and we'll then have a better idea of whether the money that we have in reserve will cover it.
Well, I guess it's incumbent upon us to keep our eyes on it, because
Yes.
if, I mean, I could imagine the bids coming in and they're rejecting the bids because they're too high, because we don't have the money.
Yeah.
When in fact, I think we should have had the money. Anyway, it's just, it's a frustration to be able to track in any linear way what's happened to this money, that's all. And so,
I think our goal is to get it done. It may not look like what we had originally planned for and hoped, but in the end, our goal is to have the library completely finished, no matter what.
yeah, let's hope so. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to throw that in.
I have lots of questions.
Yeah.
but Are we allowed to talk to, or are you done? I mean, I don't want to.
I've said what I wanted to say about the 2027, and I'm willing to listen and respond to questions you may have.
Yeah, I had someone say, Mr. Chairman, from this end over here. Okay, Mark? Yeah.
So I just wanted to say about the budgeting process. So we just got the 2027, right? So we get to start on next year's, even the next couple of months, right? And we really need to get some clarity around this whole process, because the 2027 budget, I think, was kind of eye-opening for us to find out what actually is going on through the process, because we completely lost control of what was going on, and I still don't know either. And you provided us this nice schedule of everything, which is great, but I'm assuming that the budget is now in this Munis system, so that when we get a report for July, it will have the actual numbers in there, because for the whole component of personal services is just one number, you know? So I think that will help us, but we really need to be vigilant on this next go-round, because I'm with you. It's like, we're supposed to be responsible for this, and we have no idea what's going on with it.
Right.
We put in a request, and then a black box, and then something comes out the other end.
Right.
And now we've got to figure it out. And so I don't understand that. And I think part of it too, I wonder, is, for clarification that we have to get, is, yes, we're coming out of the general fund because we're not on millage anymore, but at the same time, we're not really just another department in the county, because we've been established by state law to be a library, and there are certain requirements that are included in that I think are just kind of getting blown by. So we really need to, I think, as a group here, work on that, and like on this next budget cycle, we really got to push on it, and with your guys' help, we can maybe get some answers to this, because this is kind of a mystery.
Okay. Did you have something, Mr. Bruce?
I do. I'm so sorry. I apologize right now because, first of all, do we have an amount for the renovation? Do we have an amount at all?
The last number we got was, what we told you the
Oh,
last
okay.
time you were here, which was.
That's still, okay.
Because I don't think you got an answer when you inquired about how that number came to be. So, the last.
So we're
number-
still not sure, pretty much, though. I mean, we haven't got anything in writing that says, this is the amount of money we have. So they're gonna be putting bids out,
The
and we
number-
don't even know the amount of
number
money.
that we have in writing, which was the latest number, was 1.9, but we don't know
Okay.
And you're,
why it was 1.9.
and you're talking about.
We don't know
the
it itemized. We don't know itemized of why it is different or what has been spent, because we do know we had the 4, like Hap said, and we know the AC units took half of that. And so we're not sure where, let's just round up, 200 grand is. We're not sure yet. We're guessing. We're going back and forth trying to figure it
Correct,
out, but we
yeah,
haven't got
so-
anything in writing of where that $200,000 is.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can
My
I
next
just-
thing.
Can I
Oh,
just
yeah.
clarify, ask, the 1.9 that you just talked about, that's the, what we have is a balance from that carryover amount? That's what that's what that means?
Yeah.
So of our pool of funds that we have left that got carried over, they're telling us it's now 1.9. Okay.
Okay, and my understanding from listening to the roundabout county council meetings of the budget is that we're zero balanced, right? So they zeroed out at the year, what, if you have money left over at the end of the year, they take it into La La Land, and we start out as zero, no rollovers anymore, no nothing anymore, correct?
Because we're not on a separate millage anymore.
Okay.
We don't keep any excess funds.
Okay, so that means on this thing that you've got in front of us, that between, for 2026, year-to-date and what we budgeted, we've got a $545,000 difference that it looks like there was. Are you telling me we don't have access to that money anymore? It's on the last
It's-
page on the analysis report.
It's on this one.
At the total, 2026?
Oh, that one. Well, yeah, I don't think that, those year-to-date 2026 numbers aren't jiving with the Munis report, I don't think.
So these numbers on this budget are even off?
This page is from a month ago now. So there have been expenses since then, and there are still some
Yeah, but it doesn't
encumbrances
equal
that-
$500,000, does it?
Probably not, but I know that one of them was the, what is it, the van.
Yeah.
But that was out of state funding,
That was state
correct?
funds, yeah.
Yeah, but that's
Okay.
included in the overall.
And that, yeah, so, but, so that money's gone? So does that mean that we should anticipate that for the 2028 fiscal year when we're doing a budget and estimating that we need to put in there that it's gonna be a zero balance and we need to spend some money before we give it to them? Or are they putting it in a separate account that's for the library? That's a lot of money.
They're not doing that.
Okay,
I
that's a lot of money.
haven't looked closely at this, but I would find it hard to believe that we didn't spend $500,000.
Okay, so this is off, okay.
Unless it's in salaries, because we've had some vacancies and things like that. So salaries would include, insurance costs, workers' comp, things like that as well. But that would be the only, because we can't look at that and say, oh, we gotta spend all this salary money, because then we could end up not having money to pay people.
However,
No, but that means we're doing something wrong on some estimations, right? We don't want to just give our money away. We want to use it for what we need it for.
Right, no, I mean, we did a lot of moving money around at the end of the year to try to be able to pay for things. So the amount of money that we had to move in order to cover our expenses, I don't think we would have left $500,000 on the table based on what we had to do. Does that make sense?
It does. I'm still curious though on.
But it does behoove the library to spend every nickel, because the previous approach before we went off millage was that the money that was saved went into a reserve fund from which this money that we're doing construction came from. So there's no longer any motivation to be,
Mr. Heimberg, are you ready to move to B?
I still have one more question.
If I may, I'd want to make one response to Elisa's question about $500,000, and this is just backing up what Cassie said, is that this sheet where you're finding that 500,000 was, the report was dated June the 16th, and we've had
2 weeks.
3+ weeks of additional expenses that would have been submitted to the county since then. Now, and also, the biggest difference is in personnel services. That's about 300,000 right there.
Okay.
So it's not as bad as it looks.
Okay.
And
because it looks bad.
I know we all are very concerned about
I was just
and
like,
very diligent in trying to spend every single nickel in every single expense account that we're given.
Well, my point is too, is they're cutting us. Like this 2% raise is great for employees. Yay, that's awesome. But they cut us on all of our day-to-day expenses to become that. So we got less money. They said they added 2% for raises, but we got less money on day-to-day expenses, and we got less money in our overall budget. So where did we get a plus?
Well, just in summary, and we could talk about this for another
I'm
half
sorry,
hour, but
this is just, money's important here. We need to be able to.
the biggest,
I share your outrage.
The biggest expense account cut was in building maintenance, and it went from 75 to 70. So there's $70,000 right there.
Yeah.
That we're going to depend on and call attention to the county council if major building expenses come up, and they said, that's our responsibility now. So,
All right. Everybody happy? Okay, let's just move to B, foundation report.
Well, yeah, I guess you'll do statistics later. Foundation report, you've got that report. There's really not much to say there either. Lana wanted me to be sure to tell you that they sold 2 more T-shirts. Woohoo! And that was the source of most of their increase from the last report.
All right.
Have they gotten new T-shirts?
No.
That,
I think they're working on it. They asked for, the vendor that we had used and other recommended vendors. So I think they're getting close to, getting some more to sell, but they have not come in, and I haven't heard that they've been ordered. So.
Is it possible to maybe get her here, the chairman of that,
I can ask
to
her.
do kind of a summary kind of thing? Because, just because I'm sure they're doing fabulous things, but we just don't know. I'd like to.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question about that also.
Yes.
So I was looking at the foundation bylaws the other day that are in my binder that I got when I started, and I think they're out of date.
They
So
are.
could we get updated copies for that? Because I was looking at something that seemed really weird, and I think that's why.
Okay. Anything else? Foundation? Okay, let's move. Item C, and I believe Cassie's going to do that one.
Yes. All right. So we've got lots of stats for you. So quarter four stats, which is April through June, most of it looks like it's kind of been trending. Our new borrows are slightly down. It's less than 100 people, but overall our visitors and number of library card holders are up. Regular material circulation, which is physical items, and ebooks are slightly down. E-audio, e-magazines, and Canopy are way up. I looked back at the rest of the quarters of the year to try to figure out what was going on there. And it seems to be that might be a trend of people downloading audiobooks to listen to rather than engaging with physical and reading. E-audio is a lot easier. You can download it, listen to it in your car while you're doing housework, whatever. It takes a lot more dedication to sit down and read a physical book. So that's kind of what I'm thinking this trend is looking like. It's certainly just a guess right now because this is the first year that we have seen this happen. The first quarter of the year was down, but we also weren't purchasing anything at that time because we had a delay in state funding. Quarter two was slightly up, but then the quarter 3 and 4 have kind of been following this same trend. So that's certainly something that we're going to keep an eye on and see if it continues or if physical reading materials are going to bounce back up. Computer users are down, wireless users are up. That's, again, the same kind of trend. Our meeting room reservations are slightly down, but attendance is up, so we've been having larger events happening. We also have had fewer events, but more attendance at them, and that is the same. I've said this before. We have been emphasizing quality over quantity in our programming, so less events but more attendance at those events. So we're not having some of these events that might have just a handful of people coming to them. We're seeing more people coming to fewer and larger events. And kind of the same thing that goes along with outreach. We've been emphasizing quality over quantity. Overall, the number of events we've attended is significantly down. However, attendance has remained steady at those. We also, I just briefly wanted to mention summer reading. We have switched around our schedule a little bit, and aside from the first week, we have not had to turn anybody away. And that's because we have air conditioning in the spaces upstairs now, so we have been taking advantage of that. We didn't do it the first week, so we did turn away. I can't remember what she told me, but other than that, we have not had to turn anybody away. We have our Liberty and Pickens summer reading performances at the rec centers in those towns, so we don't have them physically at the library. Otherwise, we would be turning a lot more people away. Summer reading's still going on, so if you've got logs to turn in, please do so. It's looking like it's a really good year, though. I had a meeting with one of the branch managers a few weeks ago, and she told me that actually they had more logs turned in at that point than they did total last summer. So it's been a really good year. People have been loving the dinosaur theme. And it's been a lot of fun. But we still have a few more weeks left of it, a few more performances. Let's see. But you'll get final numbers for summer reading at the September meeting. Yearly totals. It's basically the same trend. Overall, the new borrowers are slightly down. It's a little bit over 1,000 people, but we also have a really good ratio of card holders to population. So that number doesn't concern me that much because there's only so many people who can have cards. see. And again, same trends, regular circulation and ebooks are down, e-audio is way up. The same with computer users. Wireless users are slightly down overall for the year. Meeting room reservations slightly down, meeting room attendance way, way up. That we saw a 78% increase in the amount of people using the rooms this year from FY25. Programming attendance way up. Children's attendance slightly down, but we did have a few weeks of cancellations earlier this year, so that, I mean, it's about 1,500 people, so that's really going to account for that. And then outreach, children's attendance again is slightly down. We did have some turnover earlier in the year where we weren't able to do as many children's outreach events. And then we also had some events that either did not happen or were scheduled at the same time as other larger events, so we weren't able to attend. Hey Good Kids Fest, I know, was one of those that we normally go to. That's a large event that we were at the Waffle Festival instead. And really that event accounts for the decrease in attendance alone. So, just a couple of other things that's not in the report, but I wanted to let you guys know. The free file assistance that we partner with United Way for, we had income tax assistance. We had at the libraries, we have them at every library, we had a total of 1,669 people who got their taxes done here at the libraries, and over 50% of those people were over age 60, with the average income of just under $26,000. So we're happy to continue that partnership. We also partnered with the elections office to have early voting for the primaries and the runoff. This was the only location that had early voting. Sometimes they have it at the central branch, but they did not this year. So at this branch alone, we had, between the primary and the runoff for that, we had 3,890 people vote here. This is the most voted at location out of all of the early voting locations in the county. And so we're very happy with the turnout. We will not have early voting here for the special election in August. So that will only be at the elections office, but we will have, for the midterms, in November, we'll have early voting here. So that's my really long statistical report. Did anybody have any questions?
Hearing none. All right, next.
Friends of the Library. Just real quickly, Friends had their annual organizational meeting Monday this week. They have a new president of the Friends, and that is Kelly Boland, if you know Kelly. And then finally, the Friends' upcoming book sale will take place on the second and third Saturdays of September. And that concludes our report.
Thank you both.
I have just one request, and this was Ms. Kay actually raised this issue of, and we've talked about this, is to actually list online, like we do with the reconsideration request, list all the books that have been moved to date, and with possibly with an explanation as to why these books were moved. And I think the public should be able to get it, not just through FOIA requests, but actually have it online. I mean, we do reconsideration requests, so there's no reason why we couldn't. And one of the reasons to do that is that people might want to file reconsideration request to move the book back. But if they don't know what books have been moved out, they aren't in a position to really evaluate which books they might want to look at for reconsideration requests. So I think for transparency, I think we probably should list the books that have been moved. It should be on the website.
Aren't they on the website?
The reconsideration
Just the
books
reconsiderations
are.
are on there, not the ones that have been moved internally.
Do we ever have displayed when you move a book or anything like that? Ever? Has that ever happened? Been listed anywhere? Because
We've never done a
usually the
review
board
like
doesn't
this
even know
before,
when you
so-
move a book, correct?
We've never done a review like this
Well,
before, so-
we've never been in this sort of
But aren't
tumultuous.
they the experts? So aren't we supposed to trust them on the implementing the collection policy?
And if books get moved through the weeding process, should we be listing those also?
Probably.
Well, let's move to 6, old business, and we have the correction on or the amendment on our agenda. So that will be report of Library Director Search Committee. Mr. Chairman.
That's me, okay?
Yes.
So we had a meeting last week, our first meeting on that, so we're coming up with a timeline of when we're going to try to hit to get a new director here. We do have some applications. We haven't really looked at it yet. We're still trying to come up with a standardized way to go through it. We also determined that we have, I think, Bruce, we've gotten probably about 20 or total applications. At this point, only 5 meet the requirement of the having a master's degree of library science. The other ones got just called out because that requirement isn't met. And that's about all we've done so far. We're going to meet next week. And when we have something a little more solid, we'll get back to you on that.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Sounds good. Okay, let's move on now to, we're looking at new business, okay, and just got discussed. Any new business that we need to bring for the board tonight? Anybody? Okay. Hearing none. So, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, second. All in favor? Everybody second? Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Meeting's adjourned. I make a quick announcement. Next regular meeting, Thursday, September the 17th, 2026, at the Village Library in Pickens, South Carolina. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Thank you, board. Thank you to our staff, our library director, and assistant. Thank you.